heirlooms. Sends chills through my wallet. So I think about everyone who's played Apex Legends knows what these are. A rare item that can be equipped to one or more legends, depending on the heirloom, that simply replaces your fists. Or character/weapon skin, but I'll get back to that later. That's what an heirloom is in its simplest form, but there's a lot more to them than that.
Alright, the best looking action figure in the Outlands? Buy me now.
To find out why people spend so much on these cosmetics, I bought 4 of them to find out why they're so coveted and enjoyed by the Apex community. This definitely isn't the excuse I tell myself to justify the purchase.
Oh no,
hi there.
to the left of it.
Oh, hey.
Where's a picture of Pepsi Man?
It's a nice custom intro skin.
Yeah, I know. Do I know the real reason I'm using this
Come on.
though? Oh! Logan, turn around. Do you want to see the real reason why I'm using all these other legends?
Oh wait, do it again.
I'm being pounced on.
Oh, I see ya. I thought you said you were going to play other legends, Thomas. Why are you just playing...
Alright, I'll play another legend. You know what, I'll play Valkyrie.
Thomas, why do you have another different skin? How much money have you spent on this game, dude? Thomas!
When it comes to melee weapons, Respawn is the best in the business animation-wise. They're all so satisfying and flashy. I think owning these heirlooms might have made me better at the game because I actually want to put away my weapon to see the cool heirloom animations. So I have Mirage's heirloom Too Much Wit, Valkyrie's heirloom Suzaku, the Raptor's Claw and the Riptide Predator. 2 of these came out of the Year 7 Celebration Collection event, 1 came out of a Store Collection event, and 1 came out of packs. You may have noticed that none of these heirlooms I mentioned here were prestige skins. Well, you see, that's because I don't like... Okay, I'm not going to get into prestige skins, but to put it simply, I just don't see the value in them. Up until quite recently, I didn't own any of these heirlooms, and the only reason I started buying them was for a small bit at the end of my last Apex video. I've always wanted Mirage's as he was my main, but it's too much money. Not even for the bit. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I originally only planned to get Mirage's heirloom, but it would be a bit hard to review the value of heirlooms in general if I only had one of them. Before diving into the heirlooms themselves, for the people who don't play Apex or rarely play Apex, first of all, hi, and why are you watching a video about heirlooms? Secondly, let me answer the question on your mind. How do you get an heirloom? Well, there's 2 ways. One is to get lucky in packs. If you don't buy any, then this will likely take years, and the other way is to buy out a collection event. The second way is better value, but is also really expensive. There's usually between 24 and 36 items in a collection event, and most of the time you will need all of them to get the heirloom. When people talking about buying an heirloom through a collection event, they usually just apply the price tag directly to the heirloom, and they're not wrong to do that, but just to make it clear, you don't only get the heirloom. You also get a ton of skins, most of which are really cool. I'm not trying to defend Respawn here, the price tag to get an heirloom is extremely high, even with the skins, but I just want to make it clear that you get more than just an heirloom if you decide to go with the collection event route. Right, so let's take a closer look at these heirlooms and see what they actually have to offer. Too Much Wit came out in the Lost Treasures Collection event and is exclusively usable on Mirage. It's a golden statue of Mirage with a few speakers and some small confetti cannons. Looking online, people usually seem to rate this quite low when compared to the other heirlooms, but personally, I really like it. It has a ton of charm and fits Mirage's character really well. That doesn't mean it's perfect though. There's not that many animations that come with it, and some of them are a bit basic. But even so, I think there's a lot to love with this heirloom, and if Respawn revisited it and added some more animations, I could easily be able to recommend it. That recommendation doesn't include the price though. That's stupid. Suzaku is Valkyrie's heirloom, and it was released in the Awakening Collection event. Now, this heirloom has a ton of style. There's so many different animations that are all really satisfying to look at, but I suppose you could make the argument that this heirloom is pay to lose because, it's giant. But as someone who was really bad at the game before getting the heirloom, having this small disadvantage doesn't really affect me. I really like the inspecs for this heirloom. There's the expected animations where she shows off the spear, but there's 2 inspecs in particular that I really like. The first is where she warms up this bowl of ramen with the jets on the spear. And the second animation really appeals to me as a Titanfall 2 fan.
Sorry, Dad. I'm looking out for a new legacy now. Mine.
This nearly made me feel bad for Viper, but then I remember what he did to BT. The Raptor's Claw is a universal heirloom released in the Void Mercenaries Collection event. This heirloom can be used on any legend and is probably my favourite heirloom in the entire game. It just has so much style. I mean, look at these animations. They almost make you forget how much you spent getting it. Almost. If you were to get any heirloom in Apex, this heirloom, or any of the universal heirlooms really, would probably be your best bet. The legend-specific heirlooms have a lot more personality, but you can only use it on one legend. What if that legend gets nerfed and becomes bad, or what if you just get bored of the character? Well, there goes all the money you spent. The fourth heirloom I have isn't for a legend at all. It's a gun skin, more specifically a Peacekeeper skin. Now, I'm not going to lie and tell you this skin isn't awesome. This is by far my best skin, but 150 heirloom shards for one weapon skin? That's just not worth it at all, no matter how cool the skin is. So, now that I've talked about all four of the heirlooms, let's try to answer the question on most people's minds. Why? Well, they are purely cosmetic, meaning they don't give you an advantage in-game, but in the Apex community, heirlooms are a huge part of the conversation around the game.
Hey there, I'd give you 3 wishes, but let's be honest. All 3 just came true. Wink.
The endless grind to get one of these for free or purchasing a new one are always talking points between Apex players. Whenever my friends and I open a pack, we still try to come up with silly ways to make the Apex gods bless us with an heirloom. Has it ever worked? No, but we'll keep trying until it does.
I got an Apex pack.
I just
I'm
got
gonna get an heirloom.
Apex Valkyrie, and I got a...
Valorant? No.
Owning an heirloom comes with a certain level of prestige, or at least it feels like it does. Going around the map with your shiny new knife makes you feel really cool and makes getting killed in a really embarrassing, preventable way even more frustrating than before. I think this feeling of being awesome and having an item that most people don't is what makes heirlooms so appealing. Showing off your cool banner pose or constantly inspecting your heirloom mid-fight so your dead teammates can see your poor financial choice is appealing to a lot of people. The only problem is really that giant paywall. I still think that number is crazy. So, are heirlooms worth the money? For the majority of people, no, it's just pixels on a screen, but if you can find the value in one of these items and you have the money spare to do it, it might be worth it to you. Having these heirlooms may have burnt a gigantic hole in my wallet, but I don't really regret buying them. Now, I need to get back to actually playing the game because these things cost a lot of money and I need to make sure I get enough use out of them to justify it. Thanks everyone for watching the video. If you want to support me, then consider clicking the subscribe button. It helps a lot, and I will see you in the next one.